Hello, good morning. This is Karin Bosveld, spiritual coach and teacher for sensitive professionals who work with people. On day, technically 3 of the challenge, but doing my day 2 live stream to make clear what I stand for with the people I work with. What can they expect from me? What am I all about? Well, I've been thinking about this, and I keep thinking about this because as an entrepreneur, I find this maybe one of the hardest things to get across, to be really, really clear on. I guess the payoff of my business summarizes it. The payoff of my business is live your soul purpose. I like to use Let Your Soul Be Your Pilot, which is a Sting song. But what does that mean? What does that mean to me? And what does that mean in my coaching, in my training, in my teaching? Because, I call myself a spiritual teacher and I talk about soul, and you might think that being all spiritual and stuff, that means I'm kind of holy and I think everybody should be about love and peace and softness. And actually, I think living the truth of your soul does not necessarily mean that at all. Being true to yourself is one of the hardest things to do. I'm finding that in my life, and I'm seeing it in my clients' lives, and actually in so many people's lives. Because of course, we've all been brought up by parents or other caretakers, and we've been taught certain rules, and we've been raised in a culture, so we live by certain values and morals and rules and whatnot. And especially women, and especially sensitive women, they are such pleasers, and they have been taught how to be good girls. And now that we're, well, in my case, 51, or in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s even, part of us is still being a good girl. And that is not living the truth of your soul. In fact, very often the soul asks you to be much more badass than you are being now. And that part of you that wants that is often the soul calling, going against the grain, doing things your way, and telling people to sort off with their rules and telling you how to do things. But that is so scary, right? So what I'm often here to tell people is that soul guidance is often very uncomfortable. It very often tries to push us out of our comfort zone, and the comfort zone is, of course, very much defined by what we feel is accepted and will make us feel accepted. So very often, soul guidance will lead us in a direction that may not necessarily be accepted. Now, in my job, for example, I'll give you an example for my own life, my own world. I find it very hard to abide by the rules of my trade, for example. So I've resisted becoming a member of trade organizations because when I read through all the requirements, everything in me starts to rebel. So I am constantly pulled, backward and forward between applying the rules and so that I can become a member and then maybe have my consultations refunded by insurance, that kind of thing, and so it's very often a balancing act between more or less fitting in and yet doing things my way and doing things exactly as my soul guides me to do things. Because when I don't, I feel very, very constricted, very unhappy, and I am not shining my brightest light. Very often, when we're feeling unhappy, check this with yourself. Is what inner guidance am I not listening to? And this is one belief that I want to debunk right here, right now, that soul guidance makes you instantly happy. It does not. It can, but not necessarily. It will very often ask you to go against the grain, to be a bigger badass than you are being right now. So, having said that, in my previous live stream, I mentioned that I will be taking a small group of women on a retreat in the south of France in October. It'll all be about soul guidance. And now you know more or less what I mean by that. So again, I'll post the link to the info page. If you're curious, you might want to check it out. If you're even more curious, you might want to chat to me. And of course, you're very, very welcome to do that. Just message me. Or if you go to that info page, there'll be a link to my calendar at the bottom of that page. So you can always, book yourself in for a chat. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll be back maybe today to catch up on day 3. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.